Let's do it. Heat speakers. Back
Yes, sir.
again.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
All
How
right.
you doing out there?
Back today with a guest,
With the guest.
Yeah.
Leo.
Leo. Hey, guys, check it out. We have a great show today. Episode, I believe, 5 or 6 for the year. We got an amazing show. We got an amazing guest, guys. This is our second guest of the year. His name, he's a realtor, great guy, realtor, investor, has a huge team, a great team here that does a lot of transactions this year here in the Fresno market. His name is Leo Nolasco, and the Expert Realtors is his group right here right now. So we're pleased to have Leo join us today. He's going to give us some insight on just the market, his investments, and everything like that. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Rich,
welcome.
And Mark, to your show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen you guys on social media, and it's interesting. I'm seeing more podcasts that come out to educate people, both sellers and buyers, about what's happening in today's market. So I think these kind of shows are very helpful, to get a lot of people informed with today's market, what's happening, and help them make better decisions, with their real estate transactions going forward. So thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, man. Communication and education. That's what we're trying to do, man. Communicate with everybody and educate them on what's going on with the market and what we're seeing, and the best way to help our viewers, any buyers, or any realtors, any lenders, anybody that's listening, to help in any way we can. So
yeah, we're here to motivate and bring value. So
that's right, man.
Like we do every time. This time we usually start with the market update, man. What we got for the update? What's the rates look like, Mark?
Well, we had the end of the year, end of 2022. We saw some climb. We saw some climb in interest rates. That was mostly attributed to the end of the quarter, end of the year, just a slight climb. And then once we hit January, we started to see some decrease. We were expecting that to happen throughout the year and continue to happen as the Fed rate hikes were smaller. They're more geared towards, the actual market data, so whether or not these rates continue to rise at the rate that they did last year, we're not expecting that. However,
Always a however.
Over the past week, we have not had favorable readings. Continued to see an uptick in interest rates. That is the general trend over the past 3-4 days from recording. What's today? It's Wednesday, the February 8th. So as of February 8th, yeah. So we're right now we're sitting. FHA is back over 6.
Wow.
Conventional is approaching 7. So that's back where we're at. That's not the peak. Not the peak again, so October, November of last year is when we hit our peak, and we were well over 7. Okay. So we're nowhere near where we peaked at. I do believe that this is a bit of a short bounce back up again before battling inflation and the easing of Fed hikes continue throughout the year. I believe we'll see a little bit of decrease in our interest rates back down, but we have experienced a little bit of a jump over the past 3-4 days.
What are you seeing with buyers right now, like the buyer interest and things like that's qualifying right now?
On the lender side, I'm seeing some payment shock, so and obviously for newer loan officers or even experienced loan officers, you want to make sure that you, at the end of your consultation with these buyers, that you let them know where their payment's going to be sitting with today's market. The last thing you want to do is have them put an offer in, be in contract, and then all of a sudden you get hit with, whoa, I'm not ready for that payment. A lot of times that can't be avoided. If these changes happen 2 days later, that's unavoidable, because just 2 days ago they were expecting $200 less per month. Right. So sometimes this stuff is unavoidable, but I am still seeing that. To answer your question, from a buyer's standpoint, I am seeing some payment shock with the interest rates where they're currently at. Yeah. What about on the realtor side? I mean, you guys talk to buyers just as much as we do.
What are you seeing,
Leo?
To caveat to both sides, we have a tremendous amount of buyers right now on our team that are pre-qualified. Some have been pre-qualified for more than 3 months. And at the end of last quarter, when interest rates were climbing and just climbing, the expectation from the buyer's perspective was, initially when they got pre-approved with a lender, they were given, well, this is your rate today, and this is what your payment would look like for a house of this amount. But of course, all buyers are slow in the fall to move forward and get aggressive with making an offer. And mind you, in a month, rates can go
Oh, yeah.
either up
Crazy.
or just
Right.
as down because everything fluctuates. But what we've seen is a majority of the amount of buyers got, like you said, sticker shock. You know,
Yeah.
when they got accepted a contract and what they thought they had like a 5.5 rate, and then they waited a month or a couple of weeks in between,
Right.
and then the rate is no longer what they recorded back then, and then they see the proposed payment and they're like, whoa, time out. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to pull over the trigger and back out now. And so that has happened more and more often in today's transactions with our team's buyers. So we go back to the basics, to renegotiating closing costs, concessions, and even credits to help them be at a payment that's affordable to them. Because at the end of the day, just like somebody's buying a car, somebody's buying a house, they look at the bottom line. What is their payment going to be?
Right.
And making sure that it's going to be fixed, right? Not an adjustable or something that's going to
Mhm.
float. So at the end of the day, we as realtors and with our lender partners got to make sure that we put them in the best position from the start, instead of having a difficult payment process from the get-go to then maybe lose their home, in a year or so because of the payment situation. So yeah, we're getting back to the basics, man, of
That's good.
renegotiating for the best terms.
And let's talk about that. I mean, you built your whole team up from like ground zero, right? Let's talk about your like when you came into the business and like the growth from there, like to where you are now. Kind of how did you start
Yeah.
and how did you develop how many do you have on your team right now?
So we are at about 11 right now. And as a matter of fact, I'm
Wow.
meeting with another gal next week. And, but, rewinding time, when I got started, I came into the industry back in '08. So back then, the market had just,
You
tanked.
started in '08, bro?
I started in
Oh my
08.
goodness.
So the market had just tanked. There was tons of foreclosures, short sales, bank-owned properties, auction properties. And I had just gotten out of the military. So my family and my friends were like, man, you're leaving a
Oh, you were
full-time
hearing it.
job
You were hearing it for sure.
with benefits, medical,
Yeah.
dental, retirement, and you're going into real estate? Like, nobody's buying real estate right now. And but when you study real estate, the cycles of when it hits rock bottom,
Mhm.
eventually it's gonna climb back to the top. And so you got to buy smartly when it's at the lowest, but nobody thinks about that.
No.
Same with stocks and everything.
Same thing,
Nobody's
man.
buying stocks, nobody's buying this, nobody's buying that. But it's a wave, man. You got to ride it, because
Right.
that's when you make your millions, man.
Mhm.
With both real estate, stocks, or anything that you invest in. But
So wait, where were you working when before you got into real estate? Where'd
so
you start?
no, I was in the military.
You were just
So,
military only,
I
no
was-
other job.
Yeah,
Okay.
straight out of
Okay.
high school, man. I joined the
Wow.
military 17 years old.
Wow.
And so my parents had to sign a waiver for me to join the military.
Okay. What branch?
Really?
Army.
Army. Okay.
So I did the Army, and I did 3 years, enlisted first, and completed my 3 years, and then I got my GI Bill. Went to Fresno State, so I used my GI Bill.
Sweet.
And then while I was in Fresno State, that's when 9/11 happened. Back in 01.
Right.
So then I feared, like, damn, they're gonna call me back in, but I'm a full-time student. But because we had a contract with ROTC at Fresno State, my contract was to finish, my studies and
Gotcha.
eventually get commissioned again to go back into the service. So, well, anyways, 9/11 popped off, and as soon as I graduated from Fresno State, back into the service I went, and then the war was popping, man. So either you were in Afghanistan or Iraq, and there was a high demand for our services.
Sure.
I deployed a total of 3 different times to
Man,
twice to
Wow.
Afghanistan and one to
thank you for your
Iraq.
service, man.
Yeah,
For
appreciate it,
sure,
man.
definitely. So
And after that, after about 10 years, man, of just deployment overseas, coming back stateside, another deployment overseas, coming back stateside. And then finally, after my third rodeo, I said, I can't do this anymore. And I mean, it's great pay, you get to travel worldwide, but, you're never going to be guaranteed that you're going to come back home in one piece.
Man,
I couldn't even fathom what my mindset is. You're out of high school and you're going into this the battle, like in the military. Like how did you feel? Like how crazy was that feeling?
Well, the mindset is kill or get killed.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line,
Yeah.
So are you trying to come back home to your family, friends, and back home in one piece, or are you going to let the enemy take you out? So
and Leo said Leo's coming home. At the bottom line,
So
Leo's coming home.
I'm not
Okay.
trying to, go
Right,
back
right,
to
right.
money back. I'm trying to live.
For sure,
So
for sure.
that's the mindset really that you got to go into it. Yeah, you're 18 years old, but you're shooting weapons. They're shooting weapons at you too. So you got to take them out. But you got some of the best training in our armed forces. You know, you got night optics, you got, you know, really great weapons to have an advantage over the enemy. So the training is what really keeps you one step ahead of foreign enemies.
Good.
Right, man. So from there, where did you first like what made you even think about getting into real
Yeah,
estate?
what's
Like,
that
was it-
connection there?
Yeah, how did you even
Yeah,
go
so
from there to
it's
there?
funny. Back then there was a lot of TV shows, man. There was a lot of TV shows about house
Mhm.
flipping
Mm.
and you know, HGTV, DIY network. I mean, you just look at all the channels, everybody has something about real estate. And I just got fascinated with looking at, you know, just junk homes or, you know, people's custom homes that they build upon and made it, you know, their own and whatnot. And you know, I come from a family that have a lot of friends and relatives that do a little bit of painting, flooring, roofing. I mean, you name it. So
So the wheels were turning. You're like,
yeah,
I got the whole squad already.
and you know, we're still young. We can probably learn a thing or two. And just looking at the TV shows, like, man, I can do that, and I can do that. And, you know, so really, back then, I didn't have my license when I first got out of the military. I just started kind of networking with other realtors, meetups, and whatnot,
Okay.
meeting people that had potential and value that I can be a part of a team. So I really just started buying junk homes, you know,
Okay.
from people that, you know, I'll meet you, and you had something.
Did you have a
going on.
mentor? Like how do you go from being in the
My
military
mentor-
to like, okay, I'm going to flip houses?
Not
Like,
not
it had to be
not
something.
to the capacity like paying big type dollars, you know, for
Yeah.
big investors that you see, you
Sure.
know, on their platforms and whatnot, but just contractors in general, man. Like, you know, they were my friends and family, and so to this day they still are because they do it on a daily, you know. So they
Right.
know how to tear down a house and build it from the top down, you know. So there's different layers, and really the only way to learn it was to just get in it.
Absolutely.
Get in
Yeah.
it and
Dive in head first.
yeah, and that's the way you learn. So, funny story is that my very first house that I did was in Bakersfield, you know, with my
Wow.
friends and family. So we went and got a auction property down there, and we lived in that property for about 5 to 6 weeks. Lived in it like while we were remodeling, right? And it was in the middle of summer, you know, 105, 110 degrees. In
No AC
Bakersfield.
or what?
No AC,
Oh,
man. So we had to tear down the roof, put an AC, you know, tear down the whole thing. But my contractors that I took over there basically showed me the way. You know, so you got to start from the outside and work yourself in. And there's different layers. You know, you got to do electrical, plumbing before you cover the walls
Right.
up, and eventually the texture, eventually the finished work, the floor, and all that stuff. So it was a process. But after that first one, I'm like, man, I like this, but I don't think I want to be laying tile all the time. I don't want to be painting all the time. You got to
Okay.
hire the people that love doing that and are experts at that. And that's kind of how I transitioned into that. Just basically networking and finding more properties and stuff like that. And
How did that first flip end up? Like, did you make some money off of that?
It,
Was
yeah,
or were you,
it
did
was
you
a-
lose? No.
it was a small one, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It was about, you know, maybe like 18,000 at the time. You know, we're talking about back in 08,
That's still
right?
good, bro.
So,
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
you know,
it was a
it
good learning experience,
was
and
a
you
good-
made money.
yeah, it was a learning experience for me. But I quickly found out that wasn't my style anymore. I was just like more about networking, getting more stuff so that the contractors can do what they do, and I just wanted to keep the system going, you know.
Going.
Yeah, and after that, you know, I did that for about 2 to 3 years, and I'm like, man, now my realtors and my partners that I was networking with weren't getting back to me. Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And so then I'm like, man, I gotta study and hit.
Wait.
books.
Stop right. You weren't calling me at first.
No,
'cause
I
I
know,
was
you know what I'm saying. You know, but
because
you get to the
I got
point
the
where you're
big
so
like-
busy
right.
that you sometimes miss the call and
Sure.
do calls, and
Right.
then like they're not getting back to you. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna hit the books and get my license this time.
Right.
And I
Oh,
think
that's
by-
what made you get your
Yeah,
So you
that-
saw where the hole was. You saw where the hole in this whole thing
right,
was. Man, I'm not seeing any realtors that are responsive,
right.
that are helping me get to this next level
Right.
that I want to go. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm just gonna fill that space,
Yeah.
and
So
that's how
then
you
I
got it.
just went
Okay.
ahead and I got my license, and I'm like, man, this is opening more doors now because now I
Yeah.
have MLS access, and now I can network with more people. I can call them direct, you know, and if they're not answering, well, I can text the people. So that's how that became. And so then I really started hitting real estate hard, man. At that point, I was all in, you know, it was just full time.
Did you have a mentor when you first started, or anyone that kind
Uh,
of guided you early?
my manager at the time, yeah, my
Okay.
manager at Guarantee Real Estate, AJ, to this day, really good friend of mine. Still, we're still connected. But basically, he was my mentor, you know, my office manager. So he helped me grow. But again, I was wet behind the ears, so I was very open to learning.
What year are we talking about right now?
We're talking about maybe what's this 2010, 2011?
2010.
Yeah,
Okay.
license.
License in 2010.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right
And
after.
you said you landed on guarantee.
Yeah, I started at Guarantee.
What made you choose guarantee?
I chose Guarantee, big brand,
Okay.
big known reputable company. They weren't a national or a name brand, if you would, but they were big in the valley. Everybody knew.
Yeah, they're huge here.
Everybody
Yeah.
still knows who
Yeah,
Guarantee
yeah.
is. And the training, right? They had a lot of great training, a lot of great office managers. I still do a lot of deals with them, throughout the years. I still have friends, there. But at the end of the day, they had the capacity for me to learn, and I think when you're getting started, learning is the way to avoid problems down the road, because you got to be able to, serve your sellers and your buyers and stay out of trouble at the same time.
Okay.
So
Right.
the training is key, man, when you're getting started.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
so Rich and I know about your growth as a leader and growing that team. Would you say that guarantee and the training that they had for you kind of gave you the blueprint on how you wanted to go moving forward? Because I mean, you've grown your team.
Well,
And
yeah, yes, to capacity. So as a solo agent, I can only do X amount of deals per year, right?
Right.
And I saw myself burning out, to be honest with you.
Let me just ask you,
Burnout
there's
is
a lot
real.
of new agents and agents just watch the show as well. Like your first year, like explain that. I know like it's super hard as a new agent. How many transactions did you do, and what were some of the key things that got you early successes?
Yeah, when you're first getting started, I think that a lot of people are hesitant to doing business with you because you really don't have the experience just yet, right? But when you associate yourself with management and training and having somebody hold your hand, you can use some of that leverage and say, "Hey, don't worry, if I don't have the experience, but I have the right mentor, resource manager that's holding my hand throughout the process. So I got you." And it takes a little bit of confidence and trust. My first 5 deals were all family and friends, to be honest with you. My sister was one of them.
How long did it take you to do your first deal? You remember?
Well, when I became licensed realtor,
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple of months, to be honest
Wow,
with you.
that's amazing for a
because
first new agent.
yeah, because at the time people were still hesitant about buying. You got to think about it. People were
Yeah.
still just, the market had just popped. Everybody's worried about real estate, where it's going and whatnot. So you have to just basically instill the basic principles of don't worry about what happened in the past. You don't worry about what you're doing in the future. With
That's a
your family.
great point. I just want to
So,
stop right there, just real quick, and I'll let you go. But
yeah.
guys, listen to what he's saying, man. He came into the business at like almost the worst time ever.
everyone's running away, and he
Yeah.
ran to it.
He ran to it. And the thing is, we always and just in general, even myself, I used to be the same way. A lot of people feel like, oh, it's not a good time to do this. It's not a good time for a career change. It's not a good time to do that. However, there's really, in general, there's never a good time. It's never going to be that perfect time. It's always just going to be the time when you feel there's a change needed. That's the time to start right there. So just a little word of advice, because like I said, like he came in at a bad time in real estate, and look to where he is now. He's he's successful and made it work. So just something there to think of, guys. Is never a bad time to start. Don't use other reasons to why you can't start to either start a new career or whatever it is you're looking to do.
I agree, guys. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
So,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Continue.
yeah. So yeah, back to so there comes a point to where you hit volume and like you start burning out. So I felt that like within year 3 of really going hard in real estate, because I had a lot of buyers and then I had a lot of sellers. I was just active every weekend, practically open house, and getting the momentum going, of the flips and the investments that we had at the time. So going on. But there comes a point of like, damn, this stuff is burning me out, and 7 days a week, sometimes 14 days a week. And you need a day off, man. So at the end of the year, I would look at like, damn, I did 50 deals again. Like, wow, I want to do more, but without all the headache and the stress. And I want to have some time for myself. And so then my office manager said, look, man, you really got to think about hiring a buyer's agent, or maybe 2, because at the end of the day, you share the bread, you share the referrals and the you know, the leads that you get from online.
Yeah.
You get a slice of this, you get a slice of that, and everybody wins, man. You're helping him grow, you're helping him grow, and now you went from 50 to like 65 deals or 50 to 75 deals, and that's how that became, man. So I'm like, shit, okay, well this year we did 75 deals, now I want to do 100, you know. And so then they got to get more buyers agent, more buyers, and organically, like it grew itself, you know, because I was taking care of you, and I was taking care of you, and then you said, well, I'm gonna help take care of the next guy that's coming in, and you guys are just doing the organic, you know, recruiting and whatnot. So I never really hit the social media about, hey, come join me. I'm here, you know.
You just let your body of work speak for itself.
That's it, man. You know.
Hey, real quick for the viewers, what is a buyer's agent? When you say you're hiring a buyer's agent?
Yeah, it's somebody that, let's say, just got their license today, right? They want to get momentum going, and as somebody, as you know, us that have a lot of years already in the business, well, we have listings all the time, right? Well, I can't be at 3 or 4 different listings on the same weekend, so I'll say, hey, Mark, can you take on this open house this weekend? Hey, Rick, can you take on this open house this weekend? And so now you guys are out there doing open houses, soliciting more clients, getting leads, qualifying buyers from the weekend. Nobody slips through the cracks because now you're converting, you're closing, everybody's winning. That's what it's about, man. You know?
Let's talk about the growth. And I kind of want to backtrack because this is super important. Kind of, and you know, you don't have to go whole deep into this, but it's very important to talk about that first hire because a lot of people, you know, coming to a business as solo agent, right? You get some successes, and then if you've never, I don't like to use the term boss, but like, or been a leader or have, you know, a team, you know. That's a whole different experience, you know, to learn to delegate, to let go of certain things that we're used to doing ourselves. Kind of talk about that first hire and how you have to learn how to even be a leader in general, right?
You know,
learn how to lead.
You know, I think it all starts with mindset, to be honest with you, man, because I to this day, I kid you not, man, I'm a realtor by trade, you know. I've always had getting my broker's license on the back of my mind, and I still have the books and the applications. And to be honest with you, I'm performing like a broker, and by title, I'm a realtor by trade. So less liability, if you would, but I'm operating like a broker, man.
Yeah.
But I know hundreds of brokers, you know, that are just brokers by themselves, man, but don't have no organic team. So I don't know if that speaks for itself or, you know, do you have leading capacity? But I think it starts with mindset. If you're looking to grow, then you got to let go of some things and stop being like a control freak.
Right.
You got to be able to share the bread, train people.
Was that easy for you just to kind of like just to let it go? Because some people it may be kind of tough. They're like they're used to doing things a certain way.
I'm that person,
right?
Well, I'm that person. I'm 2 years in, and I'm at that point where it's time to hire because I've reached my physical capacity to handle what I have, tough, and it is tough, man. It's tough.
Let go. I understand, you know. So you know, get this.
So I'm learning too. I'm with the audience on this one, learning from you, Leo.
I was doing listings. I was doing, you know, representing buyers. I was doing the paperwork behind the scenes, all the transaction coordinating crap. So I mean, there's so many hours in the day that you can do, man. You know, and so where do you find time for the gym? Where do you find time for your family? Where do you find time for the weekend? You know,
Speaking facts right now,
man.
Yeah.
So there comes a point where you're like, man, everybody like talks about transaction coordinator. Hire somebody that's a transaction coordinator.
But if you're new, I would say if you're new, do a few yourself because you got to get that experience and just doing it. But once you start getting busy,
I always am a firm believer that you gotta start somewhere with your commission split at the beginning because there's a price to pay to being coached and taught the system. And you got to learn. You got to learn the hard way in order to learn what SkySlope is and the transaction file,
right? And
the forms and all that stuff, right? So there's a price to pay for that. And then there comes a time where you're like, man, okay, well now I'm going to hire the people that love to do paperwork or the people that love to represent buyers and whatnot. So that's how you grow, you know. And so you gotta unleash the control freak in you, if you would. But you'll see how much more you'll grow, to be honest with you.
Unleash.
It allows you to
I'm writing that down.
Writing that down. Transactions and just in general. 100%.
And one buyer agent will become two will become four organically. It just happens naturally, man. You know, to be honest, you'll see it.
So what year did you hire your first buyer's agent?
I want to say back in 2000 and 11.
11.
Yeah.
And this
Paulo is still my very first guy
really,
to this day, from Guarantee. We went to Realtor
and,
Concepts. Now we're at EXP. But
and
Paulo
today
has,
you are how many?
I'm at 11 right now.
11.
Mhm.
Wow. You grew
Yeah.
pretty quick, huh?
Yeah. And I'll take a step back. Right before the pandemic, right, a lot of things were happening in the market. So brick and mortar buildings were reducing costs and sales were slowing down, right? So everybody working from home. And so we had to make a move too, to adjust with the market and everything that was happening. So we landed at EXP. And so I lost about 3 or 4 agents there. But at the same time, I regained them on this backside. And as a matter of fact, I'm meeting another agent next week.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
11. Then so to now, that's like an agent a year, pretty much. Right?
Yeah,
Not
and,
bad.
and
Not bad
but
at all.
like what you were saying, Mark, is like where do you start and where do you hire? It all starts with an interview, right? You got to feel that person out. Do you guys have the same mindset, the same chemistry, the same
Same core values.
core values?
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be compatible?
Right.
Because I think it starts there with the interview.
Okay.
Are you coachable? Are you teachable?
Mhm.
Because let me tell you, you bring somebody in from another company or another organization that already knows it all and knows more than you, then you're not going to be compatible. I had one of those agents. I'm not going to drop his name. I had one of those agents.
Say his
and
name. Come on.
We did one deal, and it was his way or the highway.
Yeah.
And he knew more than me. And that's okay. If you knew more than me, hey, by all means, keep on growing.
Then he
man.
didn't.
Do
He
your
didn't
thing.
really need you, I guess.
And,
apparently, huh?
and that was
That's
that
what
was
he
the end of
said.
that. That was
Yeah.
the end of that. So, at the end of the day, it's just business, and so you just got to continue to help the people, help your team, and because when they win, everybody wins. Man.
Everybody
You know
wins.
what I mean?
100%.
That's the mentality to have right there.
And you
Even
can only help.
for new realtors coming in too. And that's the mentality to have is to come in, realtors or lenders. You're a newly licensed realtor, newly licensed loan officer. Just make sure that whatever environment you're entering it with a positive win-win attitude.
Sure.
You need to be coachable. You need to be able to take instruction, and then on the flip side, just be ready to represent that culture. That
Right.
be ready to buy in, all in, because if you come in like Leo was saying from another agency or another brokerage, and you bring your bad habits. There's a reason you left them. There's a reason you left them if you're coming from somewhere else. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to bring 100% of that from there. If there's a reason you left, you didn't like some things. So let's enter these contracts and these agreements with an open mind,
Yeah.
willing to be coached, and just continue to want to learn.
That's it.
That'll separate you. That'll
Yeah.
separate you big time. Not only with your team, but in your production. If you just constantly want to learn and grow.
For sure. 100%.
I like that,
100%.
man.
Yeah. And just want to add this little
Yeah.
side note. I'm a firm believer, once you come into the business, I believe everyone has, is able to run their business how they want. A team might not be for everyone, right? But as long as you're growing and learning from, and if you're new, you definitely want to get, connected with a good mentor or someone that you can keep growing, or even join a coaching program. But if you want, you can definitely build a great career as a solo agent, right? It's just all about how you want your business to be, and how you want to design your lifestyle. However, I will say this: if you're a solo agent, of course you're definitely going to need supporting staff, whereas like a transaction coordinator and maybe an assistant if you just want to stay solo. But if you're planning to spread more and grow more, and maybe looking long term down the line, a team might be the way to start to growing.
I totally agree, guys. I mean, looking back when I first started, I was, at a 50% split, but there was a price to pay for somebody to teach me the ropes, right? And I learned along the way. And for every new licensed realtor or loan officer, I mean, it's the same principle. You got to pay the price in order to learn and then earn, right?
That's it.
And
Learn and then earn. I like that.
You said something very good I want to touch on. I wasn't prepared, but that's a good point. A lot of agents come into our business, they're just looking at the dollar, the splits. They don't know anything about doing a transaction. They're not even close to doing their first transaction. But a lot of them, their first thing is how much split am I getting?
Right.
And they don't realize that's not where the value is, especially when you're new. The value is learning how to do the business with someone that's doing the business, and you're getting, you know what I mean?
So they skip the learn.
Yeah.
They skip the learn and go straight to earn.
Right. Yeah.
Because the learning is going to last you a whole career.
Right.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
You might do one deal by yourself, 2 deals by yourself that first year if you're lucky. You
Yeah.
know, if you have a family
Like
member
it.
ready to buy or something,
Mhm.
you might get a couple deals at a higher percent. I'd rather take a way smaller percent at first, mentor someone that's going to train me the right way for the year,
Right.
take the cut, because after that, I got a whole nother
It's
30,
off to the
40 years
races.
in the business
It's off to the
to
races.
kill it. Right.
Yeah.
You
Right.
get, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's priceless. The information
Priceless.
you learn, the training, that's priceless, guy.
I agree. So yeah, back to the whole root of it all is that if you're getting started, definitely seek a mentor, an office manager, somebody to hold your hand, because if you're chasing a dollar first, you're going to make costly mistakes. Hell, you might not even close nothing because that's all you're chasing, the dollars instead of the service and the people and the value that you're bringing to them.
Right.
So seek to be compatible with somebody that's going to help you grow instead of just signing up for the dollar. And then next, a year has passed by. You've paid all these fees and all these dues. What have you learned? Nothing but things online, but you really haven't closed anything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to get experience, you want to get credibility,
Absolutely.
reviews.
But you got good splits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 85% of nothing is
Of
still
nothing.
nothing,
It's still
guys.
nothing.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd rather take 55% of something than
Yeah.
85% of nothing. So that's just keep that in mind.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Sounds like a true leader over here.
Yes.
Sounds like a true leader. Hey, so we talked about your team growing, but part of your team growing, which may have been indirectly, your intimate circle grew as well. One of your recruits, somebody working on your team, is actually somebody even closer to you now. We were talking about this off the air.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah. So
How is that, man? How is that working
About the
with
team
your
setup and
working with your significant other?
yeah, true story is that our organic team pretty much recruited itself,
Right.
through the courses and the certification, all that. And I ended up meeting a young lady and my fiance now, Iris, in the industry. At the time, I was a chapter president, so I was the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Chapter president. And so for me, I'm putting up these events to educate people in the industry, realtors, lenders, escrow officers, everything about what's happening, bringing mayors together, programs together. But she was volunteering her time, to kind of help out with these programs. And I think the friendship, how we started, just kind of like the whole friendship in general, for about 9 months, we're just all a good little tight circle.
Yeah, just working, just grinding.
And then next thing you know, just feelings develop, and next thing you know, we just started dating, man, and
There you go.
that became a beautiful thing. So I think if you're open to it in this industry, whether you're a lender, title officer, or realtor or whatever, I think if you have somebody that's also in the same industry,
Sure.
it helps you balance and understand one another at the end of the day, because you have deals that are falling apart, the
Right.
deal from hell,
Yes, relate to each other.
and you just want to like blow up,
Yeah.
but you find a way to kind of neutralize that, talk about how we can salvage the
Okay.
deal, force us to to think about the next day, because I've dealt with it all, man, to be honest, and I still do to this day with my agents. But when the shit hits the fan, and part of my word, but
You're
when
good to
shit
go.
hits the fan, sometimes you got to take a step back, okay, and let the emotions out. That's fine, F this and F that, and the deal and from hell and the client from hell. But tomorrow is a brand new day.
Right.
You've thought about some thoughts of how you can get the deal back together, find a solution. Because as they say, once you're in escrow, everybody wants to close, man. Nobody wants to pull the plug
Right.
halfway through the other. Everybody wants to find a solution. Things can get rocky, but that's what we get paid for.
Right.
Right.
To solve solutions and help a seller, help a buyer meet at the end of the day, and move on to the next chapter in their lives.
One thing I just want to ask about the, your fiance now, that team member, you guys are working together. The only thing I always wonder, is there ever an off button as far as real estate? Because it's like you guys are working in the office together, you go home, it's real estate. Is there ever like, okay, let's not talk about really like that, that's kind of, is that the main topic of all day, every day, or what?
I'm gonna give her credit, because when it's like vacation time, like she leaves the laptop back home. She's like,
you have to.
And so I commend her for that. I applaud her for that, because she helps me unplug too and focus on us.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
awesome.
that's important too, because this industry can really,
Burn you out.
It's a
burn you
tough-
out.
You spoke about it
It's
already.
long hours, but you got to find a common balance for one another as well, you know?
Real quick, I just want to touch on the team. One last thing. It's probably a two-part question I really got. First is, I mean, you've been great. One thing I've noticed about you and your team, like you don't see a really high turnover, and a lot of teams in the industry, you see, you know, a lot of agents leaving the team and this and that, and new agents come in. It's like a cycle. But with you, I see a lot of consistency. A lot of your agents just kind of stay with you.
Yeah.
So you're doing something right there to keep the agents to stay. Maybe you could answer that first.
You know, that's a great question, Rich. And I see it too. I see it in this industry too. You know, a lot of agents bouncing around. They don't know where they want to go next. I think I go back to the principles of my military training, right? And one of my senior NCOs at the time, when I was a young buck, he told me, you know, I was a young lieutenant, right? He was my sergeant first class. He was like, "Hey, sir, I'm gonna tell you one thing. We're about to go to war. I'm gonna be a right-hand man, but at the end of the day, all I ask is you take care of our troops, and our troops are gonna take care of you. So if I come ask you for some bullets, for some fuel, and some ammo, and some clothing or whatnot, just take care of our Joso, and we're gonna take care of you." And that stuck with me
Okay.
all this time, right? Because they are the front lines, man. You're there to support them, you get the mission done, and without them, you're nothing, to be honest with you. So that stuck with me at the back of my mind, and to this day, like everybody in our team, that you can talk to anyone and interview any one of them, man, and they'll tell you the same thing. I'm not there to chase their dollars in their pockets. I'm there to take care of them. As a matter of fact, an opportunity came to me about 2 years ago of another flip. And one of my agents who now has his own podcast as well in Spanish, Oscar, he was looking to get his first home. So as a leader, I said, I could do this, you know, I can turn around this house. But I did the right thing. And I said, look, man, I'm gonna hand you this house. You fix it for your family. And that by doing that, that went long term.
Wow,
So he
yes.
said,
You
man,
want to take care of your
you
people.
really are the real deal. So if you move from this company, I'm rolling with you.
Oh, lifelong.
And so,
That's it.
you know, it's because you're taking care of your people, and you're not just in it
Yep.
for, you know, can I get a nickel off of you and a dollar off
So
of
you got people over profit is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
People
That's
over
what it's about.
profit.
And so
Relationships over.
I see this along in the industry, man, that are people that
Yeah.
there's a lot of turnover
A
rate.
lot of transactional.
Yeah.
Just transactional
You know,
mentality. Just yeah.
And so you gotta have you know, taking care of your people first, you know, and then the people are gonna take care of you.
That's it.
And you ain't gotta worry about, you know, somebody's, you know, thinking about bouncing, because, you know, there really is no turnover rate, man. You know, they don't
That's
they don't
awesome, man.
value, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still their full-time coach. I mean, I'm always in the office. I'm their manager. So I'm just there, I'm in the trenches just like they
Yeah,
are, you know,
yeah.
so we're doing it together.
The next part of that question was, what's the hardest part of running a team?
The hardest part about running a team, I'm gonna tell you the truth about that is not I'm not a micromanager, but it's tough to have people come into the office because of what happened with the pandemic. People got comfortable working from home, right? So I
Got it.
think all of us see it, right? In
Okay.
the escrow industry, in the lending industry, realtor industry, people got comfortable working from home.
Right.
But I'm a little old school where I like to see energy in the office.
Yeah.
We feed off of one another.
And that's just
And
real.
we
Yeah,
grow with that, you
camaraderie
know?
is right there. Boom. You need that.
I'm that kind of person. I still am. You know, one of my managers back then, he was telling me, "Man, you beat me to the office today, Leo. Like it's freaking 8 o'clock. I normally in here at 8:30." But that's the kind of way that I was taught. You know, first one in, last one out. You're on the phone all the time. You're prospecting. You're setting up client interviews,
Mhm.
and that's what it's about, man. But when you get comfortable working from home, I think there's a little bit of the disconnect with the team, you know, setup and energy and whatnot, and continued growth. But you know, I'm not that dude. Hey, how come you're not at the office? It's Monday, 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's like we all have different schedules. I don't know Richard Jackson. I don't know Mark. You guys are your own independent contractors. You run it how you want to run it. But I'm there if you need me at the office. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I'm a big believer of networking. You know, you gotta continue to show your name, who you are.
Mhm.
You know, go to these meetups, these chapter meetings, because they know they just saw your new listing online, but maybe you could share it in person,
Right.
and you might sell it at the next meetup. You know, so I'm a firm believer in networking, man.
Oh, 100%, man. Want to add something? I
No,
got-
that's nice, man. I mean,
yeah.
that's actually a new problem, and you know, and with the pandemic, So it's interesting to hear that is one of the toughest parts for you
It
is getting everybody in, because that just started, that just started.
And we're in a tough market, as you guys probably, I'm sure, know right now. At least it's getting a lot. It's picking up now, but it's we did see towards the end of the year, even maybe a little bit before that, once the rates were elevated, a lot of lenders leaving the business, and we touched on this last show a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of agents, realtors left the business. I was going to ask you, Leo, really quick. What do you think what is it that the new agents maybe missing or need to do, or just any agents in general that are like thinking of leaving the business or getting other jobs? What is it? Some couple, maybe some advice that you think they're missing or not.
So if we're
catching
seeing,
up. Right.
let's say, people in the industry that are
They're-
debating about going back to a 9 to
Yeah,
5,
you see, once the market gets pretty tough, you do see a lot of people leaving the industry. You see lenders leaving, you see realtors leaving, getting regular jobs. And even to the new agents, I think this could relate. This would be good advice for them. What do you feel like are a couple things that maybe they're not doing or they could do to maybe make this a full-time gig if that's something they want to do?
That's a great question. I don't think there's a right answer to it, but I'll give out some
Sure.
pointers to it. And
Yeah.
I think that if you don't have a business model, right, that either you're trying to improve upon year after year, you're probably just trying to wing it, to be honest with you, trying to find the next lead, trying to find the next client. So, in December, as an organic team, we have a business plan to set expectations, how much volume you want to do next year, how much sales you want to do next year, how much income you want to make, because it starts with that, having something in writing, your vision board, and then accountability, right? You got to hold them to the fire. Hey, you said you wanted to do 25 deals this year. I mean, where we at? It's already February. I mean, what's going on? So you really got
that's what it takes.
You got to get it. This business is not going to fall in your lap.
Right.
You got to prospect. You got to talk to people. You got to.
So it's an action business. I think a lot of agents don't realize how much activity and action is needed to even develop some type of lead flow to eventually lead to deals. You know what I mean? I think a lot of
you got to be touching clients, if not daily, but on a weekly basis, because you have a motivated seller at some point, but you got to keep on touching them, right? You got a motivated buyer, you got to keep on touching them, because eventually you got to get them from the fence to getting to the lender, getting qualified, and eventually out there shopping. And same with the seller, they're thinking about selling, but they're looking at the market and the rates and this and that. And so you got to continue to educate them so that they can stay informed ahead of the market and make that decision. And, but yeah, a little bit of that, man. You got to have it in writing. You got to have accountability, and you got to believe in yourself, man.
That's huge.
If you don't believe in yourself in the business, you're in it for the wrong reasons, man.
Yeah.
You just got the license just to get it, but you don't want to do nothing with it.
Great point. And the only way, guys, to believe in yourself is to be confident in knowing that you know what you're doing. So, and the only way to be confident is to go through the experiences and learn from a mentor and just really go through the steps. Really, just do the business,
just repetition,
as much as you can,
over
to where you're confident
over.
with it and it's comfortable. Now you're gonna bring that confidence when you're in front of clients. So it's more to it than people, I think, a lot of people imagine, especially when you're first new hired. You thinking, myself, when I first got my license, man, I thought, I got my license, I'm about to start making a whole bunch of money now. Hey, let's go. And it was completely different. It was not that. I had to learn and do a lot of training, a lot of experiences, and to eventually, overcome all that. But it was all worth it, because like I said, these skills that you learn are forever. And you could use this in other businesses and sales businesses, but just in general, it's priceless.
Yeah, you guys nailed it on the head, man. To be honest,
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
no, that actually works perfectly into something we were gonna start doing per show here, a little motivation minute.
Yes.
And something I had, which honestly, the entire podcast episode was perfect for it. And this motivation minute, something I wanted to pose to you guys is to bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Okay. We heard Leo talk about him coming out of the military at a certain time of the year, a certain time of, real estate as a whole. And everybody was looking at him crazy and telling him, what are you thinking? Leo rolled the dice on himself, continued to learn, educate himself, never stopped growing, went from investor from flipper to investor to an agent to building a team to now teaching these things. Rich and I know each other from probation department years ago. He was licensed and eventually said, you know what, I'm out. I'm going all in. I'm betting on myself. I'm pushing all the chips in. I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm going to help as many families as I can. I did the same thing mid-pandemic, left the jail 2020, full swing pandemic. Everybody's from home. Just had my baby girl. I just bought our house in April and I was done in June, going to a commission-only job, leaving my hourly salary, not knowing when I was going to get paid next. And just bet on myself completely, not blindly, like none of us did that blindly, but we did eventually get to the point where, you know what, we can do this, and we bet on ourselves. So 100%. bet on yourselves all the time. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect anybody else to believe in you? If you got something that you're trying to help somebody with, a product you're trying to sell, a transaction that you're trying to close, right, if you don't believe that you can do it, the clients that you're speaking to don't believe it either. Right. So if you don't even believe in yourself, who else is going to buy it?
And I got to add my little 2 cents, because that's an amazing point you got. But what I was thinking about this the other day, I was like, you know what? I think schools failed us in that sense. You go from K to, 12th grade and you go to college, but I think schools should implement that starting from kindergarten, how to build people up because I think the average person is not aware that how much powers they have within themselves, and they can do whatever they want if they put their mind to it and go for it. I think that's just not taught. I think that's something that you have to learn and understand. And once you learn how powerful you are as an individual, and you have everything you need already, and you can do it, it's just a matter of going through the steps. If you don't know that and have that build up as a young age, this is why, I think a lot of us, may find it later in life, or just don't go after the goals that we can truly accomplish. So that's kind of what I want to.
Yeah. You're capable. You're capable. You just don't know it. You just don't know it.
Right.
But you are capable.
Capable of it. I mean, if I can do it, then you guys can do it. If any of us can do it, you guys can do it. So just knowing that and being confident.
I agree. Somebody watching this show today is probably on that same, section that we talked upon, that they're thinking about going back to a 9 to 5 because of what's happening in the market. But are they really going to be happy at their 9 to 5, just paying the bills, but not really chasing their dreams and their capabilities? That's what it really comes down to. So if you're in that position, look down deep inside, unleash that capability, believe in yourself, and chase your dreams, because, we're born in the United States of America. Anybody that can believe in themselves, you can go as far as you want, but only you. It starts with you.
Starts with you.
It does.
Mindset. You said it earlier. Starts with you and your mindset.
Right there. Yeah.
Boom.
You gotta be able to learn, and like I said, to earn, and then communicate and educate, and you're gonna be the expert, in lending, in realtor side, and in the escrow side, insurance side, whatever field you're in. Don't give up on yourself.
Don't give up.
These tough times are a true testament of how much more you're going to continue to grow in this business. And you're going to go through some hard times, because this is a shift.
It's all part of it.
The strong will survive and continue to push forward. So don't give up.
And one last thing too, also, a lot of times we get down on ourselves, or we give up because something didn't go right. We lost a deal, and then we get back to, and then we fall off our path of reaching our successes. But just keep in mind, guys, all of us fail, well, I'm not going to even say fail. All of us, maybe we lost the battle, but you can win the war, right? So you're going to have these ups and downs. Things are not going to go right. It's going to be a lot you're going to have to do. But as long as you're staying consistent and you're going forward, eventually those are learning opportunities. Actually, the things that don't go right, if it doesn't work out, you learn how to learn from that
brings it to you.
Right. Just figure out what's the learning experience in something that didn't go right. And now the next time you're faced with that challenge, you're going to overcome it because you've dealt with it before. And that's all life is. That's all your journey to success is. It's just going through ups and downs, and in down times, learning from that and applying it next time you're faced with that challenge. As long as you keep it moving forward, you're going to get better and better every time. So just my little
boom. Heat. I like it.
First time we said that.
I like it.
Hot the whole show, bro.
The whole show, man. Everything. Leo was dropping nuggets everywhere, man. Good job, man.
I don't want to leave before we get into the top 3. We always got. I like the hip hop. I love hip hop. I love music in general. I want to. What's your top 3 hip hop artists, Leo? Dead or alive? I gotta ask that. Who you listen? Who you like?
There's so many good artists out there, man. When I'm working out in the mornings, I like to listen a little bit of Rick Ross, a little bit of Drake,
Okay.
and I grew up with Tupac.
There it is.
There you go.
That's a general consensus. We did this last time, and Tupac was on his list. Tupac was on my list. So
Actually, Rick Ross is up there in my top. To be honest, I love it.
okay.
I just like to get in the groove, man.
Get in the groove.
Getting in the mode, getting your morning session in. Just like to go at it, But I was born and raised in L.A., so Tupac was the thing back in the day.
Live and die in L.A.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, I know we kind of went off topic a little bit about everything in general, but I hope that this show here brings some content, some constructive feedback for somebody that's getting started or getting ready to pull the plug. Just surround yourself with like-minded individuals that are going to take you to the next level.
Yes,
for sure.
Right? And number 2 is don't give up on your dreams, man, because you work too hard to get the license that you're currently, practicing. But just continue to plug at it, continue to chase your dreams and unleash the beast. I mean, it's only
unleash the beast. I like it.
I love it.
It's only month 2, guys. We got a long ways to go in this year.
Long season.
Let's
long
kick ass
season.
this year. We got this.
Love it, man.
Absolutely, brother.
Man.
Absolutely.
Hey, man.
Thanks for being here, man. This was a fantastic show, man. This is Leo Nolasco, EXP right now.
Expert Realty Group. Yes.
Man, fantastic. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you guys for having me. I look forward to the show and your upcoming episodes. 100%. Continue to bring the heat to the community. This is what we do. Where it all begins, man. We got to educate.
Right.
Last thing before you go, how can people reach you if they want to get to know you more?
Yeah, they can reach our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook. We'll put it down here in the subtitles. Experts, Facebook.com/Experts Real Estate Group, Instagram.com/Experts Real Estate Group.
There you go.
So, perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks,
all right,
man. Thanks for being here.
And that's a wrap, fellas. See you guys later,
bro. Till next show.
That was good, man. That was good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Not bad.
I think we did pretty good.
No, we did good.
All this is the work.